Hello, this is Reverend Bill. Today is Friday, March 21st, and I would like to discuss today a movie I saw recently called Nefarious. It's a very interesting movie. Generally, I wouldn't do movie reviews in Awakenings, which is the series I'm doing here. But this is going to be an exception. It deals with a possession of an inmate in prison. I'll describe it a little bit to you. So, this is directed by Carrie Solomon and Chuck Konzelman. Didn't really find a lot of history there as far as directing and writing. They seem to be concentrating on a lot of, not a lot, but I think there was like five religious credits thereabouts. And this is certainly among them and probably the most notable. It stars Sean Patrick Flaherty, who's a death row inmate, and Jordan Belfi, who's a psychologist or psychiatrist, I guess, that they bring in to test his sanity. Apparently, he's scheduled to be executed at 11 p.m. that night. So the thing of the psychiatrist is to find out whether he's sane or insane. Now, if he's sane, he's going to be executed. But if he's found insane, then he's going to get a reprieve. He'll probably go to a hospital, and who knows, after maybe a certain amount of years, he'll get released. So the movie's primarily held inside a cell for the most part, with the psychiatrist analyzing the prisoner and wondering whether he's really possessed or whether he is an insane man. And it's a very, very interesting story because, well, he's possessed. I think that it's pretty much clear from that moment that he walks in the cell that he's possessed. There's no doubt about that. So I'm not going to throw any spoilers out at you. There's really not a lot of spoilers to send your way. I think the only spoiler would be kind of like whether he's going to get executed or not. And I'm not going to spoil that for you. I'll let you watch the movie. But why I'm bringing this up in Awakenings is because I find this really very interesting and realistic. When I watch The Exorcist, that's a great theater, but I don't truly think it's that realistic, at least not in my experiences. And I'm not trying to make out like I've done a ton of exorcisms or anything like that, but I've had a little dabbles of possession, and I have seen a person possessed. I've seen them have the spirit cleaned out of them. So I got a little bit of experience, and I find this to be really interesting because he's not obvious like in The Exorcist with the crazy face and the puking of bile. He's just kind of a quiet guy in his own way, very cunning and very clever, and you kind of get that from the get-go. It's about a 2-hour conversation for the most part, and it's very telling. A lot of the stuff I've covered, for those of you who watched my videos before, we'll hit on them again. But one of the things that I do like about this is that the demon is not obviously a demon like in The Exorcist. Uh, he's very smart. He's very cunning. He does at one point. I think the psychiatrist says to him something about, "Oh, are you turning into a theologian now?" And he says, I know more theology than any man that's ever lived." Which, being a demon, that would be true because he's been there since day one of Lucifer falling out of heaven. So he saw it close up. He knows exactly what's going on. And then the other things too, the psychiatrist is an atheist. And I find this to be really unfair for a person to be an atheist because they think that brings them above this, that because they're an atheist, they can't be hurt by all this mumbo jumbo. And the truth of the matter is, being an atheist, you close off possibilities and you completely handicap yourself against guys like this. One example would be during the conversation, there was a break, and the demon said, ready for round two. And the psychiatrist said, well, I didn't know we were in a fight. And he goes, well, that's why you're losing. That's the kind of stuff. He's like running rings around the psychiatrist, because the psychiatrist is, I'm an atheist. This you're obviously a sick man, and he's completely unarmed, taking this on him. Yeah, he's way out of his league. Let's see. What's very interesting that he brought up, which is kind of what I brought up a few times before, is the idea of the religious thing. People read a lot into it. And the funny thing is, the fight between God and Satan is really very simplistic. And it's almost playground level simple. Kids playing on the playground, and, cops and robbers, stuff like that. It's a very clear thing. And what it boils down to is very simple. Jesus loves us. Jesus wants us to spend eternity with him in heaven. Satan hates Jesus. Satan knows Jesus loves us. And the only way he can hurt Jesus is to keep him away from people that he loves. Again, with the analogy of the playground, it's kind of like taking your toys away from the person you don't like, the kid you don't like, so that he can't play with his toys. It's very childish, but that's what Satan is. He's a very childish person, entity. And he wants to keep us away from Jesus. And that's pretty much what it boils down to. And they kind of touch in on that in this movie, Nefarious. So, yeah, but it's really good. Sean Patrick Flaherty does a great job as the demon. And Jordan Belfi as a psychiatrist does a pretty good job too. Let's see, what else do I want to mention here about this? Yeah, I like the way he talks about possession, and he says possession's not necessarily a simple thing. It's a series of yeses. He said first they do is they look for babies that aren't christened. He said when babies aren't christened, you can start early on them, and it could be something very simple as as they get older. A series of yeses, like, should I steal the candy bar? Yes, steal the candy bar. Hey, my aunt left her pocketbook out. I bet there's money in there. Should I take a look? Yes, take a look at that. And it builds up, and slowly the demons find their way into the children from doing that. It's not that clear cut, like, they can just bring themselves in it. And he actually did mention, which I have mentioned before, the Ouija board. Just to reiterate, the Ouija board, people go, oh, Milton Bradley, they for $5 or whatever, they're not going to be able to make a interdimensional tool, et cetera, to bring in demons. Well, they're missing the point. The Ouija board can certainly, a lot of things can bring in demons. We're surrounded by demons. I've been told that there are actually demons on streets, that take care of certain streets, watching what's going on. Demons cannot in and of themselves hurt us. They're not able to. They need a host body. And that's when they come with possession. So when they're surrounding you and you use something like a Ouija board or a seance, they don't really need much to invade you. And something as simple as a Ouija board, but you don't even need a Ouija board. If you're stupid enough to try to bring the dead back, and again, I mentioned this, if the person's dead, they're either in heaven or hell. They're not around you. If you get in touch with any kind of spirits around you, those are demons, and they will lie to you, and they will try to fool you into believing that they're your mother or your sister, or maybe even Jesus himself, if they can fool you there. Do not mess around with any kind of demons or spirits. It's just bad news. Anyway, so the point that he was trying to get to is that demon possession doesn't have to be like a big thing like an Ouija board where they jump into you. It can be a series of years where they're working up to it. They're trying to get you to deviate. And each time they're getting stronger. There's another part of the movie that I really liked too, is when the psychiatrist makes some kind of a reference to the fact that, well, if you're evil, um, you're not doing a very good job because we're winning. And he's like, what do you mean you're winning? And he starts naming about all the strides that he thinks people are making, and the demons like laughing at him, and going, oh please, you the truth, your DEI or whatever you're doing is like playing into our hands. There's more slavery going on in the world now than ever before, and half of them are sex slaves. And then he goes into a very intense um, discussion about abortions, and he compares abortions with back in the old days. I'm running a little late here, but I hope you forgive me for being a few minutes late. I really enjoy this movie, but he compares that to the old days where they had an idol Moloch that they used to set a fire in, and they used to get babies and used to throw them into the fire and Moloch, and then watch the babies kind of melt into the idol. And he said, as barbaric as that is, how do you think the carpenter, which is how he refers to Jesus, he calls me the enemy of the carpenter. He's like, and how do you think the carpenter likes now that they don't have to do that? They can just go right into the mother's womb and rip the baby out there. How do you think the carpenter feels? And, and then they get it, of course, they throw it in the incinerator. And the way he presents it, you realize it's not much different than throwing the babies to Moloch, the idol, all those years ago. It's kind of the same thing, only we do it in a nice way so that, it seems like we got rid of all the unsavory things. We do it now so it's unoffensive, and people don't realize the evil things that's occurring. And at one point, the doctor says something like, well, when it comes to abortions, it's her body, it's her choice. And the demon just jumps up and goes, that's my boy, Jimmy. That's it right there. In other words, you're thinking what we want you to think. And it really is pretty profound. You kind of hear how a demon sees the world, and we might think we're winning, but the demon's laughing at us, saying, "No, you guys are losing. You don't even realize you're losing. And that's really sad." So anyway, another thing too is that they talk about. Just through the course of it, you find that the demon is pretty petty. And I found that to be true too. I mentioned the fact that I've had witch attacks. One of the things that was weird to me was one of the witches got access to my phone, and it kept on putting it in driver mode and then out of driver mode and in driver mode. And I'm looking at it going in and out of driver mode without me touching it, obviously. And I'm thinking, did they think this is going to drive me nuts? Because it doesn't even bother me. But demons can be very, very petty. With my phone or other things, it doesn't always have to be a big thing. They want to drive you nuts over little things. Like in the movie, there was a doctor license that he kept on tilting. Every time the doctor fixed it, the demon would make it crooked again. Anyway, so I'm going to try to cut it short here and just say that if you get a chance, it's on, I believe it's on Tubi. It's free. And it's a really good movie. It came out a couple of years ago. It didn't get any much attention, but I would highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10. And also, I think I mentioned before that the witches held a council or something, and they decided that I need to die soon. And I'm pretty sure, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure Monday's the day that the council decided that I'm to drop dead. Which isn't going to happen, of course, because the Lord made it clear he wants me here spreading the word to all you good people. But I'm pretty sure Monday, they didn't tell me, but the hints I got, I think Monday's supposed to be the day I drop dead. But you'll see me here Monday, as usual. The Lord has a job for me to do, and all the witches' spells in the world is not going to affect me. So anyway, with that said, Nefarious, highly recommend it. Have a great weekend there, guys, and thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And if for some reason you didn't like this, then come back again and try again sometime. All right, thank you. This is Reverend Bill signing off. Bye.